Okay, so there's a new batch. There's a new treasure map batch with a legend. I didn't expect this because New Year's, 3 legends. I thought that was going to be it for this month, but I guess not. We have a new Luffy legend as well as the 2 new rare recruits of the treasure map batch that is upcoming for treasure map versus Zoro. So first off, I wanted to say thank you to Solaris for data mining all this stuff. He's very helpful in the community, and I'll link his stuff in my bio as well as in the pinned comments, so go check it out, follow him. If you want to be up to date with all the One Piece Cruise news, it's very nice to follow him. There's also going to be the upgrade for Edward Newgate, so make sure you farm up this treasure map to get his skulls to super evolve. Make sure you also have your extra copies for Edward Newgate, since he does get a type change. Although looking at it from an overview, it definitely does seem like more of an upgrade than a side grade, so don't worry too much if you did already sell copies. It's not the end of the world, but it's just nice to have an extra copy with the different types. So there is 2 rare recruits being Nami and Komurasaki, and the legend is Luffy. So honestly, this batch overall, it's quite mid if I'm being honest. So yeah, the treasure map itself, I will make separate videos discussing some teams that I will make. I'll try to get some accessible teams, some with Rodin since I do have him, and I don't know, some other stuff. But let's get into the new units. So there is 4 new characters, and let's first discuss Edward Newgate before his super evolution, and then we can see if he's good after his super evolution. So before his super evolution, he's a very strong captain. The only issue here is that he is only 3.5x going to the max of 4x for his attack multiplier. So his attack multiplier is quite a bit of an issue if you are using him as a captain. So if you are trying to do challenges where you use full thread play teams, then this is a quite weak multiplier to have. But otherwise, he has a very strong captain ability, giving cooldown, 1.5x HP, and matching orbs. So he has a decent captain ability that you definitely want to see get an upgrade in his attack multipliers in his super evolution. He has very strong crewmate abilities, giving base attack boost. I guess that's fine. But the main thing here is the burn reduction. But I mean, burn isn't too great, too much of a threatening debuff. But with the new burn mechanic where every single tap does immediate damage, I think burn specials and units like this are going to be a lot more useful. So, I mean, it's still nice to have, just not very usable in most circumstances. His special, maxing out at 13 turns off the limit break, so it's quite high. 12 turns would have been nice. Reduces cruise HP by 50%, which is obviously working in tandem with his captain ability. He also reduces barriers by a turn and burn by 5 turns. If you have a tandem orb when he activates his special, which I don't know how you get that, there's no way for him to get tandem orbs in his kit. He's going to give enemy increased damage taken by 1.5x for a turn, doesn't go through immunity. And then if your captain strike or slash a very easy requirement, you get a 2.75x chain boundary, which is very strong. I am very happy with that. So it's a very unique character, don't get me wrong. He reduces HP, he reduces barriers, he gives very unique damage buffs being boundary and also a increased damage taken, but it all just feels a bit underwhelming, if you know what I mean. I mean, the tandem orb requirement is kind of annoying, but yeah, it's just overall a decent character. Sometimes will be used, most of the time won't be. So let's see what he gets for his super evolution. So he does go into a strength character, his classes remain the same. So now his captain ability will be slightly altered. His ceiling for his attack multiplier becomes 4.5x below 50%, so that's very nice, that is usable. 3.5x if you are above 50%, which is, I wish they upgraded that to 40%, I mean a 4x multiplier, but it's still usable. There's definitely circumstances in which you can use him. His crewmate abilities have changed a bit. He is now immune to stun, and also his base attack boost has become 150 below 30% HP. So that's a very strong base attack boost for a crewmate ability. His special is very much upgraded. This is not really like a side grade, in my opinion. This is much more of an upgrade. His abilities have been hugely buffed. So the thing here is that the conditions have become a lot more tight. So for this, you need 10% or below HP. You will get 1.5x increased damage taken, but now it's going to be 2 turns and it's going to go through full immunity. So that's a huge upgrade. He's also going to give you your chain boundary, same as the 5-star version, but now it's going to be 3 turns. So that's going to allow you to carry it over multiple stages, which is very nice. Also, since the increased damage taken is 2 turns, you can use it for a revive as well. So very nice. And then he's also going to reduce your HP by 50%, such as in the original special. So the main issue here is that he himself is not enough to get below that 10% HP. So you're going to have to use external factors such as the Moby Dick ship and other units that reduce your HP to get that amazing buffs. And then he's also going to reduce barriers by 2 turns now, which is very, very nice. Since most barriers nowadays are more than 1 turn, that's very, very useful to have. Also, he's going to reduce burn by 5 turns. And then if you have a tandem orb, he's now going to increase the increased damage taken that he inflicted by 0.25. So that's a 1.75x increased damage taken through full immunity from a free-to-play character. And a chain boundary that lasts multiple stages. So even though it's a very huge requirement, it's very nice to have. And there's a lot of units that reduce your HP by like 99%. So it's not too bad. It definitely is usable. And then if you don't have the 10% HP, then don't worry, you'll still get the same effects you got in the original 5-star form. So basically, it's just an upgrade. If you don't have the 10%, you still get everything you got in the original special. You just lose out on the through immunity, the 1.75x instead of 1.5x increased damage taken, and also the chain boundary effect is 2 turns only instead of 3. I also think you do lose out on the utility if you don't have I think you do lose out on the utility if you aren't no, you still get the utility if you aren't below 10%. Don't worry about that. This is a very solid unit. For a free-to-play unit, this is very unique, and I definitely see this seeing play in content. Still 13 turns, which is kind of high, but I can respect that with how much this character gives now. So Edward Newgate got a very nice upgrades. Let's talk about the recruits, because they are very mid. I mean, Hiyori is mid, Nami is pretty decent, but she's quite niche. So Hiyori is Rubbish Captain. Her crewmate abilities are amazing, however, she heals 500 HP at the end of the turn, so always love to see those crewmates. She also is going to give resistance down to the enemies with her second sailor, which is going to be minus 10% if your captain is a... Now if you have a Rainbow Orb on Hiyori and you tap on that, it's going to give enemies minus 10% free spread resistance. And then if you tap with a Wano Orb on Komurasaki, it's going to give a minus 10% slasher resistance. So very versatile, very strong. You do need a Rainbow or Wano Orb, however, but there are many ways to do that, so it's just a nice effect to have. A special maxing out at 12 turns off the limit break is going to remove all poison and completely remove SFX, which is the blindness debuff. And then if she does have a Rainbow or Wano Orb when the special is activated, which is quite a requirement, it's going to reduce counter heal and counter recovery by 6 turns. So I mean, if you don't have a Wano or a Rainbow Orb, don't worry, this is not much of an effect you're losing out on. You really don't ever need to actually reduce recovery debuffs, so don't worry about this. You don't lose out on much. However, the next requirement is that you are beyond 30,000 of the max HP, so this does require overheal of 30,000 or more. And if you do have that requirement, she's going to boost quick, free spread, and slash your character's base attack by 1500 for 2 turns. And then don't worry if you don't have the requirement, you still get a 1000 base attack boost for 1 turn instead. After that, she'll heal 30% of the crew's maximum HP. So, I mean, okay, pretty shitty unit if I'm being honest. It's very unnecessary. You can kind of ignore everything besides the base attack boost, and yeah, you're never going to be using this character if I'm being really honest. The crewmates are nice, and her support ability is also pretty mid. It just heals a bit and removes poison, which I mean is definitely can see play in some circumstances attaching to Okiku and Toko, but really not very often. But it does give a lot of healing, so I do give it credit for that. But I mean, it's just okay, not the best, not the worst. Nami is also Hiyori is a quick and slasher free spread character. Nami is a quick free spread and striker character, so one class change. And what she is gonna do is once again same shitty captain effect. Her crewmate abilities are now gonna be the same with the healing ability of 500 HP at the end of the turn, but now she is going to resist rewind by 2 turns, so that's very, very nice. So the special is maxing out at 12 turns, and this is a very good special in my opinion. So I did say it was shit at the start, but she is a lot better than Komurasaki, and I do think she'll see play, but as I said before, her requirements are very, very restrictive. She reduces everyone's cooldowns by 1 turn very well with her crewmate ability, so you can use this unit to get around rewind or simply to give your unit's cooldown. Reduces despair by 6, I mean, nice turns, but only one debuff, and that debuff is probably the most generic debuff in the game, so decent utility. He's going to change her own orb into rainbow, and then if your HP is beyond 30,000 or more, so the same requirement as Komurasaki, then you get a quick type free spirit orb boost of 2.75x for 2 turns. Strongest orb boost from a rare character, I'm pretty sure. And then she's also going to boost units that are either quick or free spirit by 2.5x orbs for 2 turns. So basically very similar to Rodin, where there is a lot more versatility. So if your unit is either free spirit or quick, they still get a 2.5x orb boost, which is still very strong. But if they are both of the type and the class, they get a 2.75x. So just a nice amount of extra damage if they do meet the requirement. And then if your HP is 10% below, you also get a same thing for the attack boost. So you basically get a 2.75x attack and orb boost if you are below 10% HP and you have 30,000 overheal. So it's a very, very niche requirement. Wait, that's very contradictory. You can't. So you get one or the other. You can't get both, because if you're overhealed HP, but you can't be 10% or below as well. So it's very, very contradictory. You can't get both of them. You either get one or the other, and they're both very strong requirements. So overall, this character, yeah, she's whatever. The cooldown and the despair reduction is nice, but the requirements are just too restrictive, and it's impossible to get both of those buffs. So it's a very strong ability, but not going to see play much in my opinion. However, her crewmate ability, I mean support ability, is pretty decent, attaching to carrot speed, Otama, and Shinobu, giving 4k healing and also 1 turn of despair reduction when inflicted. So once again, it's very weak support ability. I mean, one turn is very, very mid. The 4,000 healing is very nice though, still weaker than Komurasaki's one. So overall, both of these recruits are just whatever in my opinion, nothing crazy. Then we have Luffy. So Luffy he's whatever as well. If I'm being honest, he's just another legend. It's another legend for Bandai to fill out their wallets. It's basically just overall, it's a good character, but you really don't need this unit in my opinion. So his captain ability, 1 turn of cooldown, 1.5x HP. He goes up to a 5.75x HP captain if you do have a matching orb, and that matching orb is tandem. So you need some way to make tandem orbs count as matching, and then if they do have that tandem orb and it is matching, you get a 5.75x attack multiplier. If you just have a regular matching orb, then you get 5.5x, and if you don't have a matching orb, it's 5.25x. So still really strong regardless of the situation. Then he's going to boost other characters by 4.75x if they aren't quick or free spirits, so very nice versatility. And he's going to make strength, dex, and tandem orbs count as beneficial. Obviously, making tandem orbs count as beneficial works very well with his first part of his captain. And then he's going to heal 5 times his recovery at the end of every turn. So if you're running double Luffy with a ship, it's about 10k healing at the end of the turn, which is very, very strong. And yeah, he's a very, very tanky unit. Then if your HP is 30% or below whenever in the quest, then in the following turn after reaching that HP, you will have his special activated automatically, which is very nice. His sailors 6 turns silence reduction, and then if your captain is a free spirit, you get 1 turn of paralysis reduction for the crew, and if your captain's quick, 1 turn of burn reduction. So that's the most utility I've seen in one crewmate ability. So very nice and not a hard requirement. His special is quite high, maxing out at only 15 turns. 14 turns before expansion would have been better, and then 13 turns after expansion, especially for what he does. But don't worry, you can use his captain ability to activate his special, so it's not too bad. And it's going to reduce special bind, paralysis, and burn by 6, and then heal by 30,000. Now there's one thing I need to address here, and it's the very odd nature of this batch, because the rare recruits require you 30,000 overheal or more. And Luffy does heal 30,000 here, but the thing is, nowhere in this kit for anyone in the batch is there a section that says that they can overheal. So unless this is a typing error and this is 30,000 overheal, then this is a very odd batch. So he's also going to change block orbs of the bottom and top row. So all orbs including block to rainbow for the top and bottom row into rainbow. So that goes well with Komurasaki and Nami. You want to run them on the bottom row. If your crew has an attack up status, he's going to give a 2.75x color affinity to quick and free spread characters. And if you don't have an attack boost when you activate the special, then you get a 3x attack boost for quick type free spread characters. And then if they are just one quick or one free spread, then they still get a 2.75x attack multiplier. So increased versatility, and you can see how they want you to do this. They want you to use his special once, get the attack boost, and then he will activate automatically and get a color affinity as well. So it's very good in terms of damage. Yeah, it's a very good special in my opinion. It's great for matching orbs, very good utility, that's 6 turns, and you also get a very strong amount of attack boosts and color affinity. He has very solid crewmate abilities and a very good captain ability. So honestly, I was trashing on this unit a while ago, but I still stand by the point that this character is not necessary in content. He does have last tap, but that is a rubbish effect. It does just give a very minuscule amount of base attack. So I won't even go over that. It's very bad. You don't want to use that. And his super type is a super type for quick characters, and it does require you to have one of these Straw Hats, Momo, Otama, or Yamato. So it's very easy to fill that requirement. And even if you can't, if your HP goes below 30%, you still proc the super type. So very easy to proc, and it's going to reduce the crew's silence by 6 turns. Why? His special already does that. But I can see why they're doing it, because if you're running him as a captain, you can't use his special to get around silence, because he can't use his crewman abilities to get around it himself. So it's a very nice effect to have still. And it's going to delay enemies ignoring immunity and proc it with a 1.75x conditional attack boost. So that's very nice to have. This is a very solid super type, and he does have a lot of damage and utility in his kit. So overall, a very good character. I do think you will see play, but I'm not going to go over his rumble stuff in this video. So I will have a separate video after that if I do ever pull him. But for now, he's just a very strong character that is not going to be really required in content. Yeah, pretty good character. Very strong effect, very strong utility, matching orbs, very solid captain, and his support effect is also really good, as well as his crewmate abilities, which we previously discussed. And this support ability attaches to all Momo and Yamato units, so a lot of good characters that can be used with this support effect. And upon infliction of paralysis, it's going to reduce it by 2 turns, which is very nice, and you get 4,000 healing. So very, very strong crewmate ability, and I do definitely see this seeing play a lot in content. So if you do put this character, max out his support effect. As I said before, last step is rubbish. 500 base attack if you are at 60,000 HP. So it does go up if you have a higher HP pool. Very trash, not going to be ever used. That's going to be it for this batch, this data download. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any questions about these units, ask them down below. But with all that being said, peace, and I'll see you guys in the next one. I'm out.